Hey guys, I'm Rachel. Welcome back to Auxhart Gardening. Today, as you can see, is pretty wet. It's a little chilly, but these past couple weeks are not as chilly as it has been. We're getting up into the 60s. I think the high yesterday was something like 68. It was absolutely pleasant outside. But then this giant storm came through, which I know a lot of you across the South and Midwest had to deal with, especially some of those tornadoes. I hope that everybody is all right. But my garden did get a lot of rain. The rain gauge says 3 inches, which is a lot for us to get at one time. So let's go check out how everything looks after getting absolutely drenched. Yesterday I found a few minutes to cut back the mint a little bit. I cut it back on this side because it was starting to crowd out the fava bean. I could probably continue cutting it back this way more because I think the center of it is right about here. But I only had a few minutes, so I did what I could do. And I actually love how it is growing in between all of this, but I think I might actually also cut it back from the edges of these stones as well. So the fava bean row, it is growing. It looks pretty good. A lot of these have put on flowers, but I haven't really started to see baby beans yet. Everything moves a lot slower in the winter because of the low amount of sunlight. So the fact that things aren't progressing quickly is not a surprise and not a problem. I also did plant garlic right underneath this trellis here, and you can see some of them are just starting to come up. At the beginning of one of my previous garden tours, I talked a lot about how I prepared my garlic and where I planted it. So if you're interested in that, you can go check that out. I can't remember exactly which one it is, but it should be pretty easy to find because the thumbnail is me holding some garlic. Good morning, Kada. What you doing today? I think potentially new since the last garden tour is all of this straw that I put down. I've had it for a while and I finally had a chance to spread it. I still need to go back and get some more wood mulch to kind of complete mulching the pathways, but I like to use straw in the rows because it's a lot easier to move aside and give little tiny seedlings some space. I also planted onion starts a couple of days ago. I think I planted like 250 or so. I got like 3 bundles from Dixondale Farms, and they all say that they have 75 to 100 onion starts in them, and I used all of them. So I planted quite a lot. Now the celery, my first time growing celery, I've planted onions in between because I've heard that celery that is crowded will grow up like taller stalks. So hopefully we'll see that happen. They look kind of spread out now, but seeing as I've never grown this before, I don't actually know what I'm looking for. I did have one that is kind of dying. It was small to begin with, and it just seems to not really be taking this cold very well. It's not dead though, so maybe it will come back. As we continue down the row, I think all of these brassicas are bigger than the last time you saw them. They were definitely damaged by how cold it's been getting. But now that they're getting used to it, these newer leaves should not be showing that kind of damage. I also have, in addition to the onion starts, these, which are onions that I didn't use fast enough and started sprouting. And basically, I could have eaten them, but it's still the right time of year because I've just planted these to put these in the ground. I think they will probably split, and I'll at least get some really interesting spring onions out of them and maybe even some flowers so that I can save seed for next year to try again with starting my own onion seeds, because I just said that I bought a bunch of starts, and I will show you why. These are the onions that I tried to start from seed. I have like one strong looking plant and a couple of others that just haven't died. I honestly don't know exactly what went wrong. I don't know, it could be something to do with it being really cold for a while right after I put them out here. It could be that this tray kept catching water and they drowned. Could be any number of things. Could be the timing of how big they were when I tried to put them out here. But all of that, oh, look at that. I don't know if y'all can see on camera that teeny tiny red. That's cute. Anyways, yeah, could be any number of things, but I will keep trying again year after year until I get this right. Onions and carrots, currently the hardest things for me to grow. So the trellis, full of peas, full of very alive but not very happy peas. I still have not gotten any peas off of these plants, although there's a flower. You can see the purple poking out right there. I think that they have been having a hard time with how cold it's been getting at night. And it's obviously not been killing them, but you can see they've been damaged over and over. Like you can see this one is flopped. And that's probably why they're not able to produce peas for me right now. But they haven't died yet, so I'm going to continue to let them do their thing. And the way the weather is here, maybe it'll warm up for long enough for them to produce something. My little row of lettuce is going quite well. I pull off of it somewhat regularly, although I'm realizing I would like to have about 3 times as much, so that I can pull even more regularly and maybe have a salad every single day. So what I did was I pulled some seedlings out of the little, what do you call it, box of salad greens that I have inside. I started like a whole tray of greens right close to each other, and some of the bigger seedlings I just popped them out and put them in here. There's even one more at the end there, and they are slowly starting to grow. They got quite a bit of transplant shock. I think this one was not red before it came outside. I think it was green. Same with this one. This one was not nearly as red. But they are alive and growing, and so hopefully soon-ish they will be healthy enough for me to start pulling more greens off of. At the beginning of November, I tried planting spinach seeds out by that row of brassicas, and not a single one of them sprouted, which is weird. It's been like a month now, and I didn't see them like sprout and die or anything. I just never saw them sprout. So I find that very confusing, and I might try and sprout some indoors and then transplant them out. But with like the weather being up and down and up and down, I would really rather them be acclimated from the get-go. But you know, first way didn't work. I'm gonna try another way. I've just been leaving these radishes here because I realized that they weren't gonna be that good to eat. But they're not really obstructing anything right now. So I figured they can just live here for now. And if we keep going farther back, this is where the carrots technically are. I think there's like all of 5 carrot plants back here. But I have been slowly excavating them from the weeds. You can see these piles of dead weeds that I pulled up. And there are some lonely looking scraggly carrots near them. There's one that looks actually okay over here. I am gonna try planting more carrots because I'm not gonna give up. So I do have a few seeds soaking, and I will try again after I get all of these weeds out, and we'll see what happens, you know? Worst thing that happens is nothing. You know, I'm not going to destroy anything really by trying again, so I might as well. Back here at the end of this section, I took some of the tinier onion starts and grouped them into groups of 3s and planted them all together, kind of like multi-sowing the way Charles Dowding would do it. And these, I'm hoping, will be great spring onions. I can pull them really young before they're really competing with each other too hard, and maybe pull 2 for that and leave 1 out of each group that looks the biggest to continue developing into a big onion. This second row of brassicas here at the end, I did straw and I planted more onion starts here, but I don't know if y'all really notice because these things have been so tiny on camera, but basically all of my starts in this area just died. They probably did not have enough leaves to be able to tank the transition to freezing temperatures at night, except for this one, which hopefully that's a cauliflower because I would really like to have a cauliflower. There is another one here. It is teeny. I don't know if it'll grow. Further down, here's another one. Also teeny. Unsure if it will grow. The store-bought Brussels sprout starts here don't look great, but they are still alive because they were much bigger when they got put in. And then my one Brussels sprout that I planted on time, got in the ground, didn't get stunted, is really close to producing Brussels sprouts for me. You can see right here, there's a little baby Brussels sprouts. So that's exciting. And if you didn't know, these leaves, these are also edible, kind of the way kale is. They're a little tough with this big rib in the middle, but you could use them like kale. So right after big rains, meaning today and possibly into tomorrow, is when I need to start watching for mushrooms to come up in the areas that I've planted them. I did get a couple of wine cap mushrooms out of this area, but just a couple. And I haven't had oyster mushrooms since the summer, but very excitingly the other day I noticed my very first lion's mane mushroom, so I'm going to check in on the logs. So I was in the middle of stacking these logs up because I realized that they would probably fruit better if they had more area to fruit on. And I noticed at the bottom of one of these, my first little lion's mane, I'll go ahead and insert the clip I took of that to show you guys. But yeah, it's super exciting. And I did also find like an older lion's mane that had been really dried up. I don't see any now, although I do see some of these, which are not lion's mane. They are something else. I did cook and eat my one small lion's mane mushroom. It was 2 whole bites. I sauteed it in butter and then coated it in soy sauce, and it was delicious. I am so excited to have more of them. I also put some straw in the raised bed. Pretty thick layer. Last time I did wood chips, and I think straw will be a lot better going forward just because their wood chips were so chunky. And in this area I took out the dead parsley, and I don't know what to put in this area. I don't think I can put anything in now, but potentially in the spring I would like to have marshmallow and maybe chamomile in here. Oh, and the stevia finally died. This is what I've been expecting this whole time. I did pull some seeds off of it, so those of you who wanted a chance to win seeds when I do the giveaway later, then they will be in there. And yeah, as I've mentioned all year, this will look very dead all winter, and then it will grow back from the base. And I feel like some plants like that have a limited number of years that they can do that, and I do not know how many years stevia can do that. I guess when it stops doing that, then I will know that it is done. Okay, and before we wrap up, just a quick look at the berry patch. I wanted to show you guys the blueberry bushes. My friend Bay reminded me last night to look at how gorgeous the leaves are this time of year. They turn this like red burgundy as it gets colder, and I think this is normal. This is what I've seen from them before. And this one looks particularly healthy. Can you see at the very tips of these branches those little red buds? I just noticed them. I don't know exactly what they are, but they look healthy. They look like fresh growth. So I am pretty pleased to see that. That looks really, really good. Strawberries are still green for now, but they will also probably die back a bit over the winter and then come up again from anywhere they put down roots. So all of this, if you remember, or even if you don't, there was one strawberry plant right here in the middle, and it has spread all of this in one season. You can see the tendrils even come like all the way out to here. And if these have rooted properly, I think the strawberry can come back right from these roots when next year comes around. And that's what I want. I want this strawberry to extend all the way this way and all the way this way and be like a living ground cover for me so that I don't have to mulch as aggressively every year. Raspberries are still green, but are not actually producing fruit at the moment. Well, I mean, they're trying, but it keeps not going so well for them because of the cold nights we've had. They can handle a bit of a frost, but I think it got just a little too cold for them, and that's okay. I maybe could have covered them if I had wanted to prevent that and known that it would get a little warmer again, so I'll just have to keep that in mind for next year. At some point I'm also going to have to prune the blackberries and the raspberries, and I still need to learn how to do that. It will be my first time, and we'll see how it goes. You know, you guys, I always show you the good, the bad, and I admit when I don't know what I'm doing, which is surprisingly a lot of the time. So I hope you find that comforting for yourself. If you feel like you're way out of your element, there's so many things to know, and it's really hard to know them all, and especially if you're just getting started. Like, good on you for even trying. So I am going to sign off for now. As always, if you've missed any videos or if you're new here and you really want to catch up, I will leave playlists for previous garden tours up here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, I wish you all happy gardening.